Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to what can I say? I reckon this is kind of the people subreddit at the moment. You know, everyone just always seems to love this one. It is idiots in cars. And I reckon it might be something to do with the fact that it's just going to be so relatable. You know, you were just always going to have those idiots on the road, whether it just be little things like someone just kind of cuts you off, or just, you know, some massive thing where someone just tries to do a hit and run like this person has. Either way, anyone that has ever been on the road has just seen all the little things that can occur, and you just go, oh my goodness, it is honestly quite scary sometimes. So, you know, hopefully you've taken a chill pill today just so your blood doesn't completely boil over at the sight of some of these things. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? Alrighty then, that is one hell of a title, but we're going to be starting off with circumcised boat. Alright, what have we got? Wait, I don't even understand what is going on. Oh my goodness, it is slowly grating it off. I was actually wondering how the hell someone was actually going to be relating a boat to a car and idiots in cars, but that definitely makes sense. You know, it is definitely being towed behind a truck, because this is in America. But really, even though I kind of understand what the title is going for, I just really don't know if that is kind of the correct even terminology for what is going on there. You know, obviously they're just completely flattening it. Look at that. You just see all the kind of shininess that is just probably halved in size. But no, just us watching here just go, oh my goodness, every time it hits. But I imagine that they wouldn't even be feeling, you know, driving down the highway or whatever, you know, maybe 6 ton or something like that. Well, maybe not that much, but either way, you got a lot of weight going at a pretty decent speed. You're not going to feel like any little bumps like that. It'll probably just feel like a little bit of the road. So at least in that regard, even though it is obviously their fault for not kind of racing up the motor and whatnot, you can definitely understand why they wouldn't have noticed midway through driving. And really thinking about it now, I wonder if this is kind of the first time they've had the boat, or not the first time they had the boat, but you know, they've lent it to someone else is kind of driving, whatever it may be, or perhaps it is actually just completely mental blank and you just haven't raced it up, or even just maybe it even fell down during the trip, who knows. But either way, oh, just every time it hits, it just hurts. I mean, but hey, looking at it, it doesn't even look as though anything else has been worn away. It's not like the boat has been damaged at all, and really, you can replace a propeller. I have no idea how much they are, and maybe they're not cheap, but either way, it's definitely better than just kind of grading your entire boat off on the road. And also, unless that propeller is brand new or anything like that, you can probably just get like the latest and greatest, make you go faster, be more efficient, whatever it may be. Or really, I feel as though just any other component on a boat is just going to be more expensive than just replacing a propeller. So maybe this person isn't an idiot in car at all. Maybe they're just kind of going about big brain ways to kind of remove their old propeller. They don't want to go to the effort kind of undoing it. No, they're just going to drive down the highway, let it spin around, just grade off the place, and you just pop a new one on. I mean, actually, I don't know if my statements from before are entirely true, considering that kind of does look as though it has a few kind of flat spots, as though it has been kind of dragged along some stuff, or at least kind of hit the road a couple times. But either way, I can't imagine it's going to be completely destroyed in the same way that the propeller is. So I guess in that regard, if you do have to replace the entire component, then it's definitely not going to be a cheap and easy fix, you know. But really, considering, like I said, I just feel as though this is just going to be an accident, or someone just says obviously not to notice. I just absolutely have my fingers crossed to them that they've just, you know, only done damage to the propeller. Because really, for something like this where it isn't actually harming anyone else, I just always have to feel for the people in the car. Attempted dispatch. Oh my goodness, I can already see what is going to happen. No way is he going to actually run into him. No way. Actually, how the hell is the truck actually trying to kind of ram you? You know, surely you could just kind of floor it and you'd be able to kind of outpace the truck. Or really, if he's getting that close, just surely you can just pull over. You know, obviously you're not going with the speed limit that they want to be going at. And so really, considering the title, even though you probably wouldn't expect them to ever do that. Oh my goodness, I wasn't even able to finish my sentence before they actually were able to crash, because I thought something actually more dramatic was going to happen before that happened. But wow, they just got completely pushed off the road. It's kind of an interesting viewpoint, because obviously being inside the car, you really don't get that much perspective of what actually happened. You just kind of get a whole bunch of blur and then just, well, I guess it stopped. Oh no, not the trail mix on the floor. That is actually the saddest part of the whole thing. The footage that we saw certainly didn't seem to show them flipping or anything, and they definitely landed back on their wheels. So really, it could have been way, way, way worse, but oh my goodness, was that just crazy. Really, I have absolutely no clue what I was talking about before I actually got cut off by the accident. But actually, I think I was saying something along the lines about why wouldn't you just pull over, you know, surely it is not worth this, or even though you wouldn't be expecting, that's what I was saying, even though you wouldn't be expecting this to actually happen, you know, surely it is definitely not worth this, you know. You know, as much as you might want to try and bully your way around the road, just versing your truck, you're just not going to win, so it's not worth it. And obviously, considering you have no kind of control over other people, maybe you just have to take it into your own hands and just kind of be the bigger person, just pull over to the side, let them pass, and then everyone is safe, you know. They can do whatever they want down the road, but really, you just shouldn't be involved in that entire accident. I mean, it's definitely good that they were filming this, because surely there'd be no way that you'd ever be able to prove that, you know, a truck ran up behind me. No, that would never happen. You know, what do you mean the truck caught up to you? Like, exactly like I was saying, how the hell would a truck ever kind of catch up to you and overtake you? No, it wouldn't. You're just kind of lying. You're just trying to get, I don't know, cheap insurance. Where in reality, once you have this video, you go, look at what just happened. You know, like the title says. I mean, I guess in reality, I can only imagine that the truck driver wasn't going for the criminal charges and whatnot. But really, I can only imagine, considering they kind of did this in their truck, that they really didn't think it through there very much. This car certainly could have rolled away and someone could have got very injured. And so really, there were plenty of other ways that this could have gone way, way, way worse than it did, besides just going to kind of the top tier of, you know, what the title says. But no, really, I just don't envy these guys at all, because that is just an absolutely insane situation that, like I said, you'd never be expecting. But just to kind of have that happen to you out of the blue, you know, you never want to drive again. You'd just be completely scarred from the last time the truck nearly killed you. And really, even though this is idiots in cars, we certainly seem to get quite a few idiots in trucks, whether that truck's doing just absolutely dodgy maneuvers like this, or whether they're just kind of in streets that they're not meant to be in, or just kind of getting stuck around a corner, whatever it may be. It just always seems to be the most exaggerated one. You know, you just obviously got a big vehicle and you've got a lot of weight behind you. You just got to absolutely push someone out of the way. Just make it a very, very extravagant kind of landing. Not that we get to see it, obviously. So yeah, really, like I said, these guys are obviously very, very lucky. I'd also want to kind of figure out what car it is, because it is absolutely ridiculous that they came out completely unscathed. But really, I guess if nothing else, this post can kind of just serve as what not to do. Or not really what not to do, just more so, you know, kind of a friendly reminder that trucks can be idiots too. Driver rear-ends car twice. Ooh, here we go. Oh, is it going to be because of the snow or just because they weren't paying attention? That almost looks as though they just weren't paying attention. Look, she immediately throws her arms up. Before we go ahead and see the second way around, I just want to see that reaction again. So look at it. She goes, oh my goodness, what have I done? It's actually quite funny because they're both driving the identical Toyota RAV4s. But here we go. Oh my goodness. And then she did do it again. And whoa, she nearly absolutely took out that other lady that was standing there. Oh, that's a completely different angle, because really it looks as though they've had a decent exchange. It doesn't look as though she's trying to run away or anything like that. I certainly wouldn't consider it to be a graceful takeoff. It is certainly kind of foot to the floor material. And man, this lady down here just with the head just poking out is so lucky that she didn't get cleaned up. I mean, I guess we don't really see what happens to her, but I can only imagine that she was alright and she kind of runs away. That's what it looks like, at least. But yeah, really, these are the kind of posts that just make me absolutely scared to be on the road. You know, you just never know when people are just going to kind of completely lose their mind and they're just going to do something like this, and then let alone when they're just kind of try and run you over after they've already committed the deed. You know, the last poster title was obviously, you know, attempted whatever I called it, but I feel as though this one could be exactly the same kind of title. You know, there was obviously an attempt of some sort to be made. Either way, the attempt to do whatever they were trying to do was very, very unsuccessful. You know, they failed from the get-go from just not being able to brake. It doesn't actually look as though there's that much damage, so I don't really know what happened. You know, if we actually take it back, it looks as though they come in pretty hard, but then it doesn't actually look, maybe it's because of the snow and it doesn't actually grip it and it just kind of bumper cars the car forward. But look, where is it? Where we go? Look, there actually doesn't seem to be any damage to the entire front of the Toyota. I mean, I guess it is a Toyota, so you probably wouldn't expect any less. And I guess I can only assume that there's a little bit of damage on the back of the car, but really, they just look completely unscathed. Really, there wasn't a single scratch, dent, or anything like that until she tries to kind of run her over all of a sudden. And then you get to see how far the car actually got pushed, and then really, I guess there is still not really any damage. It just looks as though it kind of slides around once again, just almost as though it's just kind of a giant ice hockey puck or something like that, because it just kind of completely pushes it around. No worries, it just spins it around into this car. Why that car's even there, who knows? But no, I reckon the only thing that actually lets me sleep at night knowing that these people are out there is the fact that I just have to assume that they were either, you know, drink driving or drug driving, or, you know, just very tired or whatever it may be. They just weren't operating exactly at the highest calibers, and so they just kind of do stupid things like this. And of course, that doesn't excuse anything, and it's obviously still an illegal behavior, but at least when you can kind of just shove the blame to one of those other things, you can just go, that is the reason, you know. At least these people just aren't out there all the time driving like this. Idiots is trucks too. Well, I guess kind of like this one, you know, we're going to have another truck post. Like I said, we have to have a couple every single time. Alrighty then, what have we got? Okay, so we're making a kind of safe overpass. There's obviously not many pictures, so I can't really see there's a car coming down the road, but I can only imagine that there's not. They're certainly taking their sweet time to kind of overtake. My goodness, that actually just scared me. I actually kind of just grabbed the steering wheel and jerked it left almost as though I was driving. Oh, that just completely caught me off guard, even though I knew what was going to happen. You know, I just would never want to actually be in the driver's seat. Look already, I just want to, and just steer left. I mean, I guess it really didn't work too well for them in the end, considering he actually ended up rolling after they kind of did, I don't know, a 360 and a whole bunch of slides. So, and really think about it, there is no reason why this truck should be doing what it is doing. You know, it is no one to overtake, and really, is it just trying to do what it did kind of on purpose? You know, really, should this truck post be the same title as the other truck post that we have? They've actually accomplished the exact same thing, just one made contact and one didn't. Really thinking about it now, I almost feel as though it just isn't even idiots anymore. You know, idiots, I feel as though do stupid things. I feel as though these kind of people are just doing kind of, well, I guess, you know, I don't know, psychopathic things. I mean, I guess what I mean by that is I feel as though idiots are people making mistakes or just absolutely horrible drivers, but not people that are actually trying to purposely make or just kind of damage property or just kind of injure people or whatever it may be. Just, they're not purposely doing those things. We're nowhere near the top of the month or anything like that. We were just having post after post after post of these, well, like I said, just psychotic drivers. I mean, I'm also trying to think about any other reason why the truck would be doing that. You know, surely there would be no reason for it to be swerving around a pothole. And also, really, regardless of if there's a pothole there or not, you know, you should kind of be aware enough to kind of be checking your mirrors, know where other cars are, and not just kind of be pulling out of them at the very last minute, making them, well, I guess, roll in the end. Really, actually, if I turn on kind of my ears and kind of listen to what's going on, there is actually kind of incredible that the lady, I can only imagine, didn't make more of a sound. You know, I would be absolutely freaking out. You know, she just kind of went, oh, and then proceeded to just kind of completely slide out, and then obviously the video cuts off and just roll away. You know, I would just be like, oh my goodness, what the hell? There would probably be, you know, a whole bunch of cursing at that truck because you go, what the hell has just happened? I mean, I guess perhaps maybe shock is just absolutely frozen up and they can't even talk or anything like that, but still I feel as though maybe a couple of other kind of sounds even would just kind of squeak out, so to say. And yeah, I guess I have to address the fact that obviously trucks have massive blind spots, so it's not like I'm blaming the truck for kind of if it was not on purpose or it didn't seem as though it was on purpose that not to be able to see the car. It's all the fact that it's the angle, timing, and trajectory of the whole thing that is just absolutely made for this situation to go so poorly and so savvy, you know. You know, the fact that they kind of swerve out and then swerve straight back in, it's almost just like a warning shot or something like that, because really, where is it? There is no way that that truck is actually going to be able to see that car sitting right down there, you know. You look, the driver's going to be here, the car is here. There is no way that they're able to see that car there, so they must have just kind of taken a guess, have a little bit of a swipe, and then just go back, you know. Swipe it, no swiping is what you should be saying to this truck. So yeah, you know, I guess just once again, this is obviously a lesson that you have to be worried about. Obviously, you have to know and respect that trucks and big vehicles have blind spots, but really, that is just ridiculous, and so you always have to try and be on your toes. And I guess really, unfortunately, in this person's case, obviously, the reaction is kind of the thing that ended up being worse for them, probably. Either way, I guess the post is just a reminder that things can happen, and I'll just leave it there. Zero regard for anyone else. Oh, here we go. We got another truck post, you know. Oh no. Oh my goodness. This one is virtually just the complete opposite of the last one that we saw. You know, obviously the last one, it was the truck's fault, where obviously this one, you know, it did exactly the same thing. They've swerved in the way of the oncoming vehicle. And I guess really they even just rolled at the end to kind of finish off the job, you know. They were just trying to do a reenactment of the last post that we saw, but they just kind of missed out one little detail of the fact that those probably should be reversed if you're trying to do a reenactment of the last post. But no, really, you can just see from the start of this video, it's all going to go pear-shaped. You know, how slow they're going. They're not really in their lane, and they're just kind of creeping along. It just kind of has all the wrongdoings of I'm going to absolutely stuff up your day and ruin your vehicle. Look at that. They've got like a meter to their left and they're not even using it, and then the truck just absolutely comes down and plows them over, because that's what trucks do best, really. And also, it's not even like the car can talk about some of the last arguments that I had where, you know, trucks have blind spots, so to say. Not that that was actually applicable in the last one, whereas in this one, you can definitely always see when a truck is just barreling down the highway in your mirror or whatnot, whether it be rear view, because you can probably see it out your rear view as well as down your side. It's certainly isn't just going to be sitting in a blind spot where a motorbike can kind of be a phantom sometimes. No, it's an entire truck, you know. It's virtually going to be taking out your entire view out of any of the mirrors. See, but here we go. At least we're finally getting back onto the more idiots in cars. Really, unlike the last one, which is an obviously kind of sudden swerve, and like I said, swiping, no swiping, where this one is just such a slow, kind of monotonous turn, and so they were just absolutely, well, I guess like they said, no cares in the world. But really, I guess it just comes down to having no awareness and no just kind of reaction time, or whatever it may be. But you can definitely say that a turn like that has no malice in it. You're certainly not trying to run anyone off the road by doing a turn like that. Obviously, it's going to result in an accident, especially with a truck that is coming bounding down the highway and it can't stop. But even the fact that there's a road down there they're obviously trying to turn into, you know, like the last one, there was nothing around and they just swerved. I guess really the other lesson that I'm always trying to take away any of these posts, or not even a lesson, but just kind of an idea, is just the fact that it could be so scary to have someone try and disprove what you know happened just because you don't have a dash cam, you know. I don't know if I'd ever actually go to the extent of actually installing one in a car that doesn't already kind of have one, but at the same time, I just often hear about all these horror stories where people just absolutely get screwed over, or whatever it may be, you know, whether they be in the courts or just by the person themselves, but because somewhere or another the other person was able to prove that they weren't in the wrong and you were. So yeah, it definitely makes me think about getting one. Like I said, I don't know if I ever would, but it's always just in the back of my mind. Really, I guess thinking about it, a dash cam should be a dash cam. It should be an anti-idiots in cars device. A little PSA for all you brake checkers out there, don't. Well then, I feel as though this one has definitely been, yep, there we go, exactly, it's spoiled. Oh my goodness, whoa, that's gone way out of control. I didn't expect there to be kind of third vehicle involved in that accident, but here we go, let's just kind of watch it again. Obviously, the entire kind of thing is spoiled by the title, but really, there's not much else that's going to be happening besides kind of two vehicles colliding when you're just on a highway. Here we go, you know, just absolutely slams on the brake. There is no way the truck is actually able to stop in time, but really, I don't know if this is everywhere in the world, but in Australia, if you did that, you know, the truck will be at fault. You know, they are obviously not leaving a satisfactory enough gap to be able to know the limits of their vehicle and their braking capabilities, and then to be able to stop safely. And so even though obviously brake checking is just a dumb thing to be doing in the beginning, there really should be no reason why you'd want to be risking the rear end of your car against a truck. However, really, at the same time, there has to be some kind of blame put back on the driver. You know, like I was saying, they obviously didn't maintain time. Generally, it's kind of called the 3-second rule. Whatever kind of standard, whatever kind of motto the country that you were from kind of lives by, it is all really beside the point. You know, this obviously turned into a 3-car, because this idiot right here was obviously having a little bit of road rage. So the fact, you know, he obviously started the chain reaction where this guy and this truck is also an idiot, and then this guy and this truck also is an idiot, because none of them were leaving any kind of gaps. And really, if you boil it down, every single one of them was practicing unsafe driving technique. Windshield braking machine. What the hell is up with that? Why wouldn't they even just go to the extent to kind of actually put the, what is it called, the tailgate up? You're just going to go ahead and lose all the stuff that I can only presume that they actually just went aboard. You know, you're just going to lose rock after rock after rock, and, you know, obviously break a couple of windscreens along the way, like the title said. But really, unless you have to drive from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, you're going to lose about half your load by the time you get home. Really, especially considering you're in start-stop traffic, and that's just going to be slowly rocking every single rock, I guess, out of the back of the tray. That is just absolutely one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, because some of the times I can kind of see these posts and I can understand why the kind of idea doesn't make it right, but I can understand how it kind of got into that situation in the first place, whether that be too lazy, whether they didn't have the right equipment, whatever it may be, you know, in terms of ratchet straps. But really, this one just doesn't make any sense at all. Like I said, you're just going to lose most of it. You're just going to be pissing every single person on the road off, and really, you obviously have the tailgate to be able to stop stop it from falling out the back. It's not as though this piece is missing and you go, well, I guess how else am I going to do it? I mean, really, in that case, you should just be getting a bulker bag or something like that and just be able to kind of pick it up or just shovel out or whatever you may be doing. Also, the other thing with that is it doesn't scratch the hell out of your tray if you're kind of worried about that. And so really, in saying all that, I just cannot fathom why the driver thought that that was going to be the best approach. And also, I just feel as though I have to bring up the fact that it looks as though that thing is just going to be completely overloaded, you know. I certainly can't imagine that a dual cab ute with a full-on tray is going to have a massive GVM and just be able to allow you to carry all this rock in the back. No, it's not going to happen here. You can kind of see the squat that's going on here. I mean, actually, now that I am looking a little bit closer, those wheel arches do look fairly kind of similar overall in the scheme of things. Either way, regardless of the fact that you're going to be under GVM by the time you actually get to your destination, because like I said, you're going to break about every single windscreen behind you. But no, really, besides that minor thing, and maybe even the fact that you're probably going to turn that concrete road into a gravel road by the time you actually get home, I guess besides those two little minor things, you're just going to be completely fine, and there's nothing wrong with this. Or at least that's certainly what I imagine is going through their head. Happened in Germany today. Elderly people should really take a second driving test. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's all I can really say to this one. I mean, to be fair, if we go, what is it, Service New South Wales, here we go. This is the official site. It even has a thing for older drivers. When you reach 85 years old, you will need to have a medical review every year to keep your license. Wow. And then here we go. If you want to keep your unrestricted license, you need to pass the assessment every second year. So wow, that is actually a lot of tests. If you're getting old, you're doing a lot of driving tests. Sure, a lot of people by then are just going, oh, stuff it, I can't be bothered to do that. You know, I don't want to have to do my P's test or my driving test every single 2 years. But anyway, there you go. I just learned something too. Maybe that could even just be a little bit of a model that some countries work off. They've really got some serious speed up to be able to kind of launch the car. I imagine they kind of hit this curb here and bounced up and over to be able to wedge the bonnet and be able to kind of stay there and not fall down there. That's kind of impressive. I mean, hey, I don't know what this person's profession was when they were young. Maybe they were a stunt driver. They just had that little bit of an urge, maybe even just the need for speed, so to say. And I mean, hey, at least if you are going to do it, this person who's definitely chose to do it in, I would say, an older car, definitely a less expensive car. So at least in that case, it's not like some car guy's just unable to sleep because they saw a skyline go crashing through a fence and then into a wall. But no, really, I reckon based on the title and what I actually went and searched up, I actually do think it is a good idea because it is actually quite common in the elderly to have quite sudden declines, so they have to do it every second year because, you know, they might just go bang and just crash and suddenly they decline heaps. And really, that's exactly where problems like this arrive, you know, just suddenly people just completely out of their comfort zone, they just misremember, they just have kind of, you know, a mental blank and they just kind of press the wrong pedal, don't put into like gear, whatever it may be. There must be so many cases, especially worldwide, every single day, where they're just kind of elderly people just putting it through shopping centers, through fences, whatever it may be, just because they shoved it into the wrong gear. So yeah, you know, I kind of feel bad calling this one an idiot in the car because I feel as though that's not really what it's about. And really, like I said, it's just honestly an impressive maneuver that they've managed to kind of capture in the action there. However, I certainly think it is a pretty good idea to kind of implement this driving kind of routine where they have to kind of pass the test and whatnot, because otherwise you're just going to have all these dangerous drivers on the road that are just completely incompetent just because they're getting old. And it's not their fault, and services definitely have to be offered to kind of replace that if it's needed, but still, we certainly don't just let 6-year-olds drive, so you probably shouldn't be letting people with a mental age of 6 just drive either. And so now finally, with the top of the month for idiots and cars, we have results of my mother's drink driving. Oh no, look at that. Whoa, what did she hit? Oh, actually, imagine that's a big telegraph pole. That's exactly what that looks like. That's actually kind of impressive. That is actually kind of bowed perfectly around that, you know. Like I said, the last one impressive, but that's kind of just a perfect imprint. Wow, I guess first and foremost, I would certainly say that I hope she's all right. It certainly doesn't seem as though anything is kind of penetrated through the window or even kind of any kind of damage internally at all. So that is certainly lucky, and I guess just a testament to modern cars, you know. Obviously, we have no idea what kind of speed she was going at when she actually hit the pole, but really, if you were doing that in 1960 car, there was no way you were getting out of that car. But yeah, I certainly can't say that I've ever heard of someone kind of dobbing in, especially their own parent, but even just family or friend in general, you know. And I mean, really, it's obviously your mum, so I can only assume that you kind of wish her well, so to say. But perhaps you're actually having a little bit of a mixed kind of feelings or a little bit of a mixed emotions about the whole thing. On top of everything else, you obviously just now down a car and you have to kind of deal with that entire thing. Hopefully you don't live in America and you have a whole bundle of medical bills that you have to now cover or anything like that. And so really, I guess with some of the other posts that we've been seeing on here, you know, there were just so many lessons that can be kind of learned, or just kind of lessons from examples that can be learned from some of these posts, you know, from trucks to kind of things like this, regardless of the initial impact, so to say. Not that that was actually meant to be what it was, but regardless of the initial impact and what the actual thing, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, what is going on? There can be such a huge flow-on effect from something like this happening, you know. Suddenly your friends and family don't trust you to drive. Like I said, bills or losing your job because of it all. Just doing something like drink driving, where often people consider it to not be kind of a big deal, you know, like, yeah, nothing's ever happened. It's never going to happen if nothing's ever happened. But really, like I was saying, this month's been pretty lucky. That is a fairly serious impact. So yeah, you know, it's not meant to be a lecture or anything like that. And I guess that is kind of my public service announcement done. But I feel as though anyone and everyone just has to kind of talk about it and just promote those things at all times, because I'm fairly sure it is one of the biggest killers on all the roads worldwide is just drink and drug driving. So yeah, you know, always have to kind of anti-promote those kind of things. And really, it just makes sense. I mean, really, at the same time, there's obviously a reason you clicked on this video, and I can only imagine that anyone that is watching this video certainly isn't kind of, you know, prone to making idiots in cars kind of maneuvers. And so, hey, you know, I guess we can all just kind of rejoice in the fact that that isn't us, and we don't have to deal with any of that, and we just kind of have to live our lives, hopefully freely. I mean, I guess after seeing some of these posts, I don't blame blame you if you never want to drive again or just be on the road again. But still, for the few of us that are going to go out there and just brave the unknown, you know, just deal with all these idiots in cars, I salute you. And hey, you know, like I'm saying, just always spread the word that just don't end up being that person. Anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the month for idiots in cars. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to do the YouTube and look things out below and let me know what was your favorite post, or at least for this side, maybe just your least scary post. Other than that, you know, we check out also post all over Reddit, so make sure you check out some of the other videos now, or maybe you even just want to consider subscribing so you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya. We'll be right back.